Vulnerability is sexy.
Hey.
Yeah. Am I crazy? Yes, I think we're all crazy. Menurut filsuf Alain de Botton, kita semua tuh punya kegilaan masing-masing.
Dan makanya pelecehan seksual malah justru kayak 50% lebih itu yang tidak terlaporkan adalah kepada laki-laki loh.
She told me, she has the audacity to tell me like, Carol, your dad is going to divorce my mom. By the way, all this 7 session, because I'm still underage, I have my dad with me. And my dad is my issue, right? I want my dad to
hear.
So to heal. Hello everyone, welcome back to another, well today is going to be a session with us together right here in Her View. I'm looking like a therapist today. Yes, I am. Because I'm here with my ladies, my confidants, my sisters. Let's get to know them. Of course you know them. We have Kai, Shanaz, KB, and Lady M. Ready for today. All right everyone. So the question of the day is, are you crazy? Yes, we're all a little bit crazy.
Hell yes.
Love.
Oh, that's why she's wearing pink.
Yes, we're going to talk about not craziness, but you know, sometimes when people think or people would say to you, I need to go to a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, people would wonder, are you a little bit cuckoo or are you a little bit crazy? I mean, that term I think should be avoided, especially in this days of age. But of course, I want to ask my ladies and my sisters, I for myself, I go to a psychologist now for the past 20 years. Why? Because I need it. And I need someone that could help me out for the problems that I'm facing in my life. But what about you ladies? I know that you guys are very open-minded. So let's start with Lady M in Blue.
Oh yeah, absolutely dong.
Yeah. So you go to a psychologist. I mean, please share with us since when and what really became that kind of like threshold. Like, yes, I think I need to go to a professional.
Iya, itu dimulai aku tuh pergi ke psikolog itu sejak tahun 2022.
Okay.
There's this thing, okay ladies, called midlife crisis.
Hey, I'm with you at that.
We're same
I
age.
know how it feels.
Jadi ada midlife crisis itu tidak hanya dialami laki-laki tapi juga perempuan. So jadi pada saat itu ketika aku mengalami midlife crisis, dan by the way I'm not out of it yet.
Yeah.
Kayaknya ini merupakan suatu perjalanan
She
ya.
has a cave, by the way.
I do have
That's
a
how she
cave.
cope.
Ya itu. But funnily enough gini kayak sebetulnya dari dulu sampai tahun 2022 itu aku selalu berusaha untuk mencari jawaban atas pertanyaan-pertanyaan psikologis lewat bacaan. Ya kan, apakah itu buku atau podcast atau dengerin orang ngomong atau dengerin cerita teman-teman gitu ya. Tapi di 2022 itu aku di satu titik di mana aku ngerasa kayaknya aku butuh orang deh untuk naruh kaca di depanku nih. Jadi aku bisa lihat apa yang selama ini mungkin aku miss, nggak bisa lihat gitu. So that's why I decided to go to a psychologist. Am I crazy? Yes, I think we're all crazy. Menurut filsuf Alain de Botton, kita semua tuh punya kegilaan masing-masing. So it's okay to go and seek help.
But how do you see nowadays where, especially in the social media platform, I know that you don't use social media, but I mean, you've seen there are so many people that might not have the certification or any educational background as a psychologist or a therapist. And, you know, they would share on their social media, even like words of affirmation that we see a lot of social media. That helps a lot of people too. But how do you see that? And tell me, you were saying that before that you were talking to your friends, you were reading books, but then you think like, no, but I still need to go to someone professional to help me out.
Sebetulnya setiap orang itu punya cara coping yang berbeda-beda ya. Jadi tergantung kitanya sendiri gitu. Apakah kita sebetulnya adalah orang yang mungkin cocok untuk pergi ke seorang psikolog atau psikiater gitu. Karena sebetulnya milih terapis atau psikolog psikiater itu juga kayak milih pacar. Kadang-kadang ada yang nggak cocok. Malah bukannya ngerasa lebih baik, jadi kayak ngerasa makin mumet gitu. Soalnya kadang-kadang kan ada orang namanya ya psikolog atau psikiater, kan semuanya kita semua ini manusia. Kita pasti punya bias-bias sendiri gitu. Nah mungkin ada beberapa temanku yang merasakan, kok aku pergi ke psikolog ini aku malah ngerasa dihakimi gitu ya. Tapi ke psikolog ini wah dia bisa memahami diriku dan dia tidak menghakimi. Jadi ya tergantung cocok-cocokan. Mau pergi ke psikolog atau tidak itu adalah perjalanan masing-masing orang.
Well, I have a data on that, but we'll shift to KB now. I mean, have you?
No, I actually have never.
Okay, that's good. I
gone
mean, there's
to
one of
a
us here.
psychologist, but I feel like I've had so many friends who without consent, I've made my unpaid therapists. So shout out to them, you included. So thank you, Caroline. You're actually a great therapist. You dress the part.
I know. I look the part. You know, I used to want to be a therapist. I mean, a psychologist. You know, before high school, I think I wanted to help people and whatnot. And then I would tell you my story, what happened that really changed my direction from becoming a psychologist to someone that probably could interview a psychologist. All right. What about you, Shana? There's a lot of inside jokes, by the way, in this edition of Interview. I know.
Okay, kayaknya the first time aku kayak booking a session with a psychologist, I think it's around 2021, masih COVID-19 pandemic, dan waktu itu online session, tapi ya itu seperti yang tadi Marisa bilang, kalau saat itu nggak cocok sama sekali gitu ya, gue menjalani beberapa terapi sama dia dan nggak cocok banget sampai kayak gitu. Terus
and you still have to pay that person, by the way.
Well,
right? Look at that.
Nah, tapi ya udah akhirnya dari situ gue juga tahu kalau enggak, gue tuh bukan orang yang bisa melihat semuanya secara objectively kalau gue nggak melihat diri gue dari mata ketiga gitu, orang ketiga ya. Dan akhirnya di 2022 akhir, ketika menjalani proses perceraian, gue tahu betul kalau gue sangat membutuhkan. Karena apa? Karena kayak ya brace yourself, winter is coming gitu loh, kayak rasanya.
Iya.
Oke, gue punya pertahanan diri yang baik. Gue mau gue menjalani proses itu secara sadar, very conscious. Karena itu adalah decision yang sangat besar di dalam hidup gue. Dan gue pengen ada orang yang bisa ngasih lihat perspektif lain terus menerus dan mengingatkan gue untuk kembali ke diri gue. Jadi gue ketemu sama terapis gue di 2022 akhir dan gue menjalani sampai sekarang. Dan I love my therapist. She's like very
bless her.
Yeah, I love her. Dan bener-bener gue sejak ke dia ngerasa banyak banget metode-metode dia yang membuat gue sangat aware dengan intuisi gue, tools yang gue miliki selama ini untuk mengetahui apakah gue ada di safe space atau enggak gitu. Jadi dan itu nggak akan bisa gue jalani kalau gue tidak ke dia, menurut gue. Jadi banyak banget realisasi yang ada di dalam diri gue yang akhirnya gue dapatkan dari dia. Dan sampai sekarang tidak seintensif kemarin gitu ya, ketika kemarin berantakan of course gue intensif sekali gitu, datang sebulan bisa beberapa kali ke dia. Sekarang ya rutin check up aja gitu, kayak ke bengkel ya kan, gas kuring dan lain-lain. Karena saya kadang kendor di kepala gitu ya kan. Dan kalau nggak diingetin lagi kalau enggak, lo menjalani ini, ada ini gitu. Dan sebenarnya yang dia lakukan juga maksudnya bukan yang gamblang secara langsung ngomong sama kita kayak gini, kayak gitu ya. Cuman dia membuat gue menganalisa sendiri. Jadi tanpa gue ke dia pun akhirnya gue jadi punya awareness itu. Gue menganalisa diri gue sendiri dan tahu kalau gue harus punya compassion yang luar biasa besar untuk diri gue sendiri. Dan itu yang harus datang pertama gitu.
Well, she gives you the tools to practice yourself.
Yes.
At the end of the day, you need to go through this by yourself, right?
Right.
I mean, she can't be there with
all the
you,
time.
with us, and 24/7. I mean, I guess I see them as, if you go to the gym, you have a personal trainer, right? If you want to have a healthy diet, you go to a nutritionist. So this is for our mental health, right? And like this person, this professional, I would not call them a friend, but like this professional that would help us to have a mental, mental well-being and a positive one too. What about you, Kai?
So I don't go to a psychologist or a counselor routine, but so the first time I was introduced to a psychiatrist.
Oh wow!
Straight away the psychiatrist.
Prescribe the medicine.
Welcome asylum, right? Archive.
Actually, I was 3 weeks and it felt like an asylum. I was in it for 3 weeks. No, so that was the aftermath of accumulation of long-term mental stress, and not just about one thing. And so at this one point, I was hospitalized. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. And when I was hospitalized, my doctors realized that I had trouble sleeping. I would wake up. I would have severe trauma responses. Basically, that's what they saw. And so they.
Itu seperti apa?
Itu bisa. You know how apparently when you dream of falling and you wake up in your sleep, that there's something that you are in fight or flight, right? And that happened to me at one point almost every night.
Wow.
And that's
Very
after that.
severe.
That's fresh out of that toxic relationship,
Correct.
and then everything that's happened before that was also toxic in my life, and it all accumulated. So what my doctor did was this girl. Well, at that time it was a girl.
You're still a girl.
I am still
Will
a girl.
forever be girl.
So my doctor told me she needs a psychiatrist right now. So what happens is the physical aftermath, apparently, of strong trauma responses of a long term could be one of them is like chronic illnesses. So that's what already happened to me. And so that's why there's always a psychiatrist in that particular hospital on standby.
Yeah.
So that psychiatrist came in, talked to me, and it was a very, this particular psychiatrist, I was very surprised because he just needed to come in and he touched my hand like this because I was lying and I wasn't walking. So that was 3 weeks. I couldn't walk at all and I could only lay in bed. And he was just put his hand on me and I just started crying. He didn't even ask anything. And then he started, and then he gave me 5 minutes and then he started prompting me with questions. So it was like, the conversation was never, he's telling me where to go,
Right.
but he's pulling out the information
Yes.
without judgment. And that was my first experience with a psychiatrist.
How did it feel for you then, though? I mean, this is your first experience and person that you never known.
Because
But
before that, I never thought of seeking help.
yeah,
One,
kenapa?
because I was really young. I was
Berapa
21,
umurnya
22 years old. And I don't come from a family background who believes in that sort
right.
of help.
I believe there are some
Yeah,
people like
because
that. Yes.
cultural, it's a
Correct.
cultural
Yeah.
context thing. I have an open mind.
Yes.
But they believe in development psychology, but when it comes to healing yourself with a psychiatrist or psychologist, it's always like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Or
Right.
who's the crazy one? You or the
Yeah.
psychiatrist or psychologist, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they make joke about it. Yeah, so like, who's the crazy one? Psychologist or you?
That's what was told to me when I thought about taking psychology for a degree. So who's the crazy one? Is it you? Anyway, back to the story.
A little sidebar right there.
But that was my first prescription. My first experience with prescription drugs, and I didn't like it.
You didn't like it.
I hate it.
Oh yeah.
I hated
Kenapa
it.
bikin kamu ngerasa flat ya?
Iya,
Iya, flat emang.
yang kayak lo memang nggak bisa ngapa-ngapain, and I'm like,
Some people kind of go after
Like,
that.
I was-
It's like, give me
no,
more.
but I was out. Like it was during the day.
Yeah.
I was just out, and I was like, "Is this supposed to help me function? Is this
Isn't
what?"
that supposed to be like to suppress your stress
Like
and like your emotions when
recreational
right?
person.
Tapi malah jadi flat kayak.
Iya,
jadi kayak nggak bisa seneng, nggak bisa, tapi
bisa.
sedih juga nggak bisa di sini nih.
Kalau
Gitu.
gue
That's right.
gue bahkan numb gitu loh.
Iya.
Gue bahkan numb kayak orang bego. I was just
Because it's supposed to suppress whatever feelings that you're supposed to have.
kesadaran lu tuh in and out gitu loh.
Inhuman gitu ya.
Iya benar-benar in and
It's
out.
not like you're flying. That would be nice, right?
That you are flying. So that is I've never taken drugs in my life, but those drugs were man strong. Like seriously.
that's why they're prescription.
Yeah.
By the disclaimer, you need
Disclaimer:
to go to a
this is a
psychiatrist.
psychiatrist
to get that
prescribed for me.
medications, yeah.
So after I was just like, I don't like this feeling, right?
Yeah.
I don't like this feeling, and so my psychiatrist said, okay, let's try a different approach to balance your chemicals in the brain, because depression comes from chemical imbalance as well, scientifically, right? According to
Yeah.
them. That's why they give you the prescription drugs. But then after I got out of the hospital, I told myself, I need to find a different coping mechanism. And
Ketemu nggak?
ketemu. So I went to self-healing and self-development classes. I tried a couple of different ones. And for me, at 21, 22 years old, freshly out of a toxic relationship with zero self-love and self-identity, it was very mind-boggling how much I actually don't know about what self-love means. Because I never learned to love myself.
Beb, sampai sekarang juga banyak banget. Nggak usah ngomong umur 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 aja kadang-kadang
Iya,
masih bingung.
Enggak, kayak gue tuh ternyata harus dikasih tahu bahwa lo tuh harus sekuat itu sayang sama diri lo sendiri loh.
Iya,
Kayak
emang.
kita tuh selalu diajarin buat sayang sama orang lain. Dan di situ pertama kali gue kayak ketampar bahwa lo mikirin orang lain terus, lo mikir lo sayang sama dia, sama nyokap lo, sama ade lo, sama ini. Lo sayang sama diri lo enggak?
Isn't
gitu
it
kan.
since young, our parents always teach us to always be kind to others, and then you have to share.
We're the eldest girls.
Right? Exactly. You know what I mean? Like,
The
you know,
eldest girls. Yeah. Jadi kayak di situ. But my second experience with a psychologist and a psychiatrist was postpartum 2023.
Okay.
Works.
So recent.
Recent. Because I felt like there's something wrong with me. I'm not functioning. I'm not working. It's more than just postpartum blues. I think, postpartum depression. But there's something functionally wrong with me. And I felt it very intensely in postpartum. So I went to the psychologist and she did an ADHD test on me.
Oh alah.
Okay.
So it was confirmed that according to this is really funny. According to the psychologist, I have mild ADHD symptoms with baby blues because of hormonal, right?
Yes.
And postpartum makes you feel it a lot more. At first she said, okay, let's try non-medical
Yeah.
treatments or non-medical things. Let's talk it out. And you establish routines, but I just was not functioning. And at that time, I was still trying to finish my master's degree, which by the way I gave up on. Because
It's
I
all
couldn't.
right.
Because I couldn't. Yeah, 'cause the timing was not right. And so I had Ibu Rati Ibrahim come to one of my radio show at the moment. We talked about, late diagnosis of ADHD at adulthood. And she was like, when would we need, and I asked her, when would we need, prescription drugs for ADHD? And she said, well, actually, if you need it, like when you're in school and you feel like you need to finish it and it's necessary because you tried everything, you try. So I was like, okay, do I really want to do this? So I went back to the psychiatrist who handled me like in the case because I felt like it was a comfortable connection even though I was so against the prescription. But then I tried ADHD prescriptions.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like myself at all. So
Nggak cocok.
nggak cocok. So this, I think, after having gone through self-discovery, having lived through my life for couple of decades until then, gue merasa kalau gue tuh udah mengenal diri gue sehingga gue dikasih obat tuh gue tahu banget kalau itu bukan diri gue yang sebenarnya gitu.
Like
Ya makanya cocok-cocokan lagi.
So yeah, but for some people it's really necessary, but for
Yes.
me it just wasn't.
Is it because you're kayak pengen controlling atau gimana?
Jadi waktu itu tuh gue tuh emang tidak bisa berfungsi.
Iya. Lo gak sukanya tuh karena you're not in control gitu. Gak suka obatnya. Kayak rasanya.
Kalau yang antidepressants tuh itu bener-bener ya you're out of it. You're totally out of it. Totally out of it. Like you're just not there. Totally out of it.
Karena gue minum Activate juga kadang gitu sih. Oh same.
Atau Benadryl.
I mean, that one I like to because you don't need prescription.
Exactly.
When I need it.
Helps
Oh,
you.
I'm coughing by the way, so I need that one.
Enggak, tapi kalau ADHD tuh beda. Kalau ADHD tuh kayak gue merasa like, the real me cannot sit still. And for a couple of decades, I've lived with the fact that I cannot sit still. I always feel like my body needs to move or something, gitu kan. And
You need to jiggle with it.
yeah,
It's fine.
And then when
Let it out.
I'm on medication, it feels like there's
Someone
just
holding
this
you
way,
back?
like sit down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're able to sit down. Hang on, I'm not fidgeting.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything.
So you
This is
can't control
not
your
me.
own body, right? And you
Yeah.
don't like that feeling.
It's not that. It's actually you're even more in control.
Oh.
Which makes me feel like this is not me. Because on camera, when we were doing the news anchor
Yeah.
thing, you could totally tell the difference when I am on medication when I'm not.
Menarik.
Absolutely visible. Absolutely visible. The way I spoke, the way I sat down, the way I didn't need to cross my legs or hold something still so that I can focus on my train of thought because I need to focus on one train of thought. Yeah. Like when
Now
you
we
are-
understand.
Yeah, when that medication. Oh, this is how normal people feel.
By the way,
Not crazy. Not crazy.
Gak ada yang normal, semua orang
Got it,
pasti ada
you know,
little
right?
quirks.
But this is what it feels like to be able to sit down still. You know, I did not know this in my entire 30-something years of life.
When you said about ADHD gitu kan, gue tuh kadang-kadang conflicted ya dengan diagnosa. Ada setengah pikiran gue tuh yang mikir, oke, kalau didiagnosa ini kita udah dapet informasinya, apa ini yang sekarang kita akan lakukan. Biasanya ada dua tipe orang, ada yang over identify, ada yang iya gue punya kondisi ini, jadi itu dijadikan alasan gitu ya. Tapi ada yang orang yang oh gue ada ini, oke, berarti sekarang gue akan cari jalan untuk memperbaiki atau hidup lebih ini kan. Nah itu loh, I mean I'm always conflicted about this. Soalnya aku punya teman, dia tuh di Singapura. Ini ngomongin tentang anak juga ya, kayak bagaimana cara orang tua memberikan bantuan kepada anak yang punya kondisi psikologis tertentu gitu. Jadi dia itu bawa anaknya itu ke adalah satu lembaga di mana bisa didiagnosa. Udah gitu anaknya dia bilang, oh ya anak ini tuh autistic on the spectrum. Ya udah, berarti kalau gitu anak ini nggak bisa masuk di sekolah normal ya. Dia harus masuk ke sekolah spesial dan sebagainya. Dan dia sebagai ibu kayak sebentar. No. Aku nggak suka ya anakku di label seperti ini gitu. Aku pengen anakku itu berkembang seperti anak-anak lainnya gitu. Kalau dia udah di label gini berarti kan dia tidak mendapatkan akses ke hal-hal tertentu yang anak normal dalam tanda kutip bisa dapatkan. So this thing right, bagaimana ya kira-kira kita menanggapinya ya?
Kayaknya yang menarik kalau gue soalnya anak gue belum pernah gue bawa ya. Maksudnya anak gue masih kayak ya udah gue bisa menyiasati dengan sedemikian rupa. Cuma terapis gue nggak pernah ngasih tahu gue diagnosanya apa.
Menarik, Shanas.
Dia nggak pernah ngasih tahu. Kayak dia cuma melihat dan gue nanya apa sih yang didiagnosa? Ada Nes, ada gitu. Tapi I don't want you to know gitu. Jadi kamu jalanin aja, saya akan kasih terus menerus guidance. Tapi you don't need to know. Karena nanti dia tahu karena gue overanalyzing tendensinya. Karena dia tahu gue kan. Jadi gue akan overthinking, gue akan nyari sekian banyak informasi dan itu akan membuat gue menaruh diri gue di dalam box malah.
Dan itu membatasi malah.
Itu dia nggak pernah ngasih tahu sih jadinya.
Ya yang penting lo dikasih toolsnya tanpa
Dikasih
lo
tahu,
Ya,
dikasih tahu awarenessnya lah gitu ya. Tapi dia tidak memboxkan.
It's actually not about the label. It's more about the tools that are needed. Take it from me, who was diagnosed at 30-something years old. Okay, it went out. But having to live an entire life thinking there's something completely wrong with you. And you don't have the tools gitu loh. Sampai akhirnya lo baru tahu telat gitu kan. Jadi sebenarnya as a parent juga sekarang gue karena apparently it has a tendency untuk nurun gitu kan, nurun ke anak gue lebih watchful eye gitu kan. I mean not saying that it has to be labeled, but because I know what it feels like when there's no support tool aja.
Yes.
I think that's why that now we're parents, we've seen how probably the generation before us was very reluctant to see if there is something going on with your children, right? They're probably in denial mode. For myself, I think I want to jump into this. I took my son who's 11 years old to be assessed because actually I could have seen, I see it visibly that, that he's like to fidget and whatnot. He doesn't focus much. When I was in second grade, his teachers, his educators was calling me and my husband saying that, can we meet up? Because Ryan can't just sit down like other children. But then whenever we ask him a question, he can't answer it. Right. So he did his IQ test. It was above average and whatnot. And he had an assessment before that he might have the mild symptoms of ADHD, which he is now learning at his class about ADHD, and he assessed himself. So he's like, Mom, I have ADHD. Yes, right? So, and then he asked, does that mean I'm normal? Of course, right? You are normal. Everyone is normal, but everyone also has their own superpower. And this is your superpower, right?
Look at Einstein. He was autistic.
Yes,
He
I
was
was like,
brilliant.
Michael Jordan was actually ADHD, right? And then, there's a lot of, because he likes basketball, so it has to be relatable to him. It's like Michael Jordan's like, yes. He's my hero, mommy.
So cute.
I need to make him to feel confident in himself,
Yeah.
even with whatever that he is diagnosed or whatnot, right? But then I took him now for a therapy, and it does wonder for him, like the fidget toys and whatnot. It already said also by our producer Melon, and there are so many that not only for the child but also for the parents. What we have to be ready for.
Seberapa muda yang kamu tahu anak itu udah boleh dibawa ke psikolog
4 tahun.
gitu? Oh 4 tahun.
Kalau untuk itu
Sekecil
ya,
itu ya.
kalau untuk itu 4 sampai 5.
Oh itu udah bisa atau udah
You
udah
can't
boleh.
diagnose
Ada play,
anything.
play therapy.
Ada ini.
Oh play therapy.
Play therapy namanya, dia ditaruh, dilihat cara dia bermain seperti apa. Enggak yang kayak kita ya ngomong gitu, enggak. Karena mereka kan belum punya kemampuan itu kan.
Atau gambar bahkan ya kan.
Jadi kayak main.
And it's
main
good
terus.
nowadays that we've seen, thank God, psychologists nowadays, especially for children, I think they treat themselves like friends, right? I felt. And even though my son's therapist is quite senior of age, I think, but she can be like as a friend and makes him comfortable and whatnot. So I think as parents, I really urge for you to not be in denial. If you see there are some symptoms that you see from your son, because sometimes we felt like, no, my son or my children, they're all normal like other kids. Maybe these are just stages. But it doesn't hurt for you to assess them, right? It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt the child if you go to find a psychological help to see if they're normal. That's fine. If they're not, there's always a lot of ways to help them out, and then they could have a normal life.
Yes.
I mean, I for myself do not have a normal life, so definitely I want all my 3 children to
Right here,
to have
what
the best
happened?
normal life as life can possibly be. Right?
Yeah.
Normal in a meaning by mentally, I think, right? That
Sehat
us
lah.
Growing
yes,
healthy.
growing up safe, growing up that they feel confident, especially for me and my husband, we should not put on more burdens in life because, again, especially to my 2 sons, I always tell them that life is not always peachy, and I give them chores at home. They have to do some certain things. My husband would take them out to his workspace and whatnot, and it's not a good, it's not a good place. Just to show them that life is not as good as what you see at home or at your school. I mean, at
It's not
school,
flowers and bunnies.
It is not. At school you have all these friends of yours, and all the good things in life that is given to you. But life is not like that. And even from they were a young age, because again, this is a life that we live nowadays is not the world that we lived 25 years and 30 years
It's
ago.
true. It's true. Just one thing though. I think what we've heard, specifically all the 5 of us, itu kayak sebenarnya kita kan melakukan ini bukan untuk mendiagnosa lo tuh normal atau enggak gitu, atau anak lo normal atau enggak gitu kan. For me personally, it was about what we do with the diagnosis gitu kan. Jadi dari situ kita extract bahwa untuk diri kita, we know what to do to help us regulate the emotions because certain conditions, and I think there's a stigma here. There's a stigma here that blurs the difference between an actual disorder and a mental health issue gitu loh.
Maksudnya gimana Kai?
Yeah, because ADHD is not a mental health issue, it's a disorder gitu kan. Autism is a disorder gitu. And in Indonesia, people don't understand the difference.
Kalau mental health issues tuh kayak Sumanto gitu.
Nah,
Oh
tapi itu psycho, itu
Yeah.
itu disorder sih, itu disorder.
The thing is, we can't also, I think we have to normalize also about being normal. Nowadays, people saying like, what is normal, right?
There's no such thing as normal.
yeah,
Everyone's
but
normal is
there is, I mean, we've lived life knowing what normal is, I think, right? Like this gender, men and women, right? Like we know that we were, I mean, again, no judgment and whatnot, but we were born with that, the sexuals that we were given, you know what I mean? But like we have to turn back again, like what is normal? Not saying that you're crazy and I'm normal and you're not, you're abnormal and whatnot, but we've come to a system what normal is. And if you see, and I felt, this is my opinion, but if I see my children or myself that maybe I'm not as the same as other person, I have to accept that. I don't want myself to be in denial that, because there's this part of group, let's say you're in a class of 25 people, I'm a different one, but you're normal. So does that mean that you guys should be like, you know what I mean? Or you should be more like me because it should be inclusive.
Yes,
But
yeah.
like, inclusivity is
Right?
true.
But it's like
Yang dianggap normal setiap orang kan beda-beda.
Yes.
Berbeda karena yang if I get the sense right, karena kita tumbuh di mana, itulah yang menjadi normal bagi kita.
Betul.
Ketika yang menjadi normal bagi kita, terus kita lihat orang lain, oh dia nggak sama aku, itu dianggap nggak
Yes.
normal. That's not true either, because might be normal for that person, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And I mean, like, mental and emotions are two different things, right? And I think an example of this is, so my best friend, one day she just started feeling very emotional. She started crying at
Yes.
nothing.
Yes.
And she just felt like something was wrong with herself. So she thought, okay, I'm going to go to a psychologist. And she did her assessment, and she was diagnosed with bipolar. And she started crying and getting more emotional.
Nangis, senang gitu.
Yes. And then it got pretty bad, but then she started getting physical symptoms. So she took a pregnancy test.
Oh, she's pregnant.
Turns out she is not bipolar, she's only pregnant.
Careful.
And
Misdiagnosis.
diagnosis. And
They didn't put her on drugs, did they?
no, thank God. It was her first session, and she did her assessment there. That's when they diagnosed her. And the psychologist followed up with her for another session, to which they will prescribe her with a drug. She's like, no, thank you.
Like, I'm
not,
pregnant.
exactly. I'm not
Yes.
bipolar.
Yes.
I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
It's just normal.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important sometimes to really distinguish
Alright,
that,
again.
right? And not misdiagnose someone.
Yes.
Yes, thanks for noting that, Katie.
Yes.
Dan
That's-
talking about that stigma kayaknya emang apa ya, jadinya gitu ya orang
Iya.
mikirnya kalau kalau misalnya maksudnya kalau ngomongin kayak kita kan dulu waktu kita kecil aja kita sering kayak orang gila gitu kan.
Iya.
Semua
Lagi
orang
kalau gue dengar kayak gitu.
mengalami itu
Iya.
kan pasti gitu.
Terus
kayak
orang
bully.
gilanya tuh selalu gue.
Iya. Nah itu kayak gini loh. Ternyata gue yang dulu sering banget dibully orang aneh ya. Jadi kayak gue tuh sering banget dari kecil dibilang Ines tuh aneh. Ines tuh punya dunia dia sendiri. Dia tuh selalu sendirian, dia selalu ini lalu itu gitu. Jadi gue ternyata akhirnya tumbuh besar dengan menjadi seseorang yang sangat resilient. Melihat my weirdness. Karena kayak gue ngerasa sekarang I love my weirdness.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Selera
That's
musik
what
kamu
I meant.
bagus.
Iya.
That's what I meant.
Itu adalah hal yang membuat gue jadi gue.
That's what
Dan
I
gue gak
meant.
mau jadi normal. Gue gak mau jadi kayak
That's why I went
Yeah.
off meds.
Yeah. Karena the thing is what I meant by normalcy. Again, I'm going to go back to this, right? Because we all has our differences, but we do have our guidelines in life. Let's say, I'm just going to take an example. A woman has this tendency to go after someone else's husband. That it ain't normal.
nah,
that
right?
ain't normal.
That ain't normal.
No.
Because
That's
in social guidelines, I'm sorry.
predatorial.
I mean, if he
It's
is
morally wrong.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that, and then you would say, well, because I'm different and whatnot, so it's a normal for me. I mean, like,
And you can't use it as an
I mean,
excuse.
no, you couldn't.
Yeah.
Because there are some guidelines.
Yes.
That's what I meant. Like,
Itu
there are
perbedaan
some guidelines that.
antara aneh sama ya lu emang bitch.
No, yeah, but then if we go backtrack, it could be that they have some traumas.
Susah ya.
Right?
Iya, benar,
If they
benar,
go
benar.
to, if they seek a psychological help, they could really abrupt that that dysfunctional system in
Karena
them,
dia
and they
bisa
want
tahu.
hard, right?
Iya,
But
karena
if
dia
you
bisa
want to
tahu.
find a psychological help or,
Yeah.
or reflect on yourself,
Iya, iya,
right?
iya. Karena sebetulnya kan semua orang melakukan sesuatu itu ada alasannya dan ada akarnya.
Yeah.
Kayak misalnya kasus tadi gitu ya. Ya memang kalau misalnya kita lihat dari moralitas begitu ya, atau apa yang dianggap oke dan tidak oke, boleh dan tidak boleh dalam
Yeah.
society itu jelas gitu. Tapi seperti yang kamu bilang, kayak aku setuju. Ya Mbok ya, kalau misalnya kamu tahu bahwa apa yang kamu lakukan itu sebenarnya juga menyakiti dirinya dia sendiri kan.
Correct.
Kalau misalnya
First
dia
and
pergi ke
foremost.
psikolog, dia jadi tahu, oh kenapa ya aku tuh kok tertarik sama tipe laki-laki yang seperti ini. Kenapa ya selalu begitu?
Yeah.
Bisa jadi dia punya father issue,
Iya.
punya daddy issue, banyak banget kan.
Yes.
Jadi memang membantunya adalah dari situ, mencari sebetulnya akar kenapa kita melakukan
Yeah.
suatu. Kita bisa menyadari, and then we can make decision. Kita bisa membuat keputusan, oke, mungkin kali ini aku akan ke sini atau ke
Yeah.
sana.
That
ya?
is if the
Yeah.
bitch has the awareness. Kan? Kalau dia nggak punya awareness ya nggak bisa toh.
Nggak pergi ke psikolog
Maybe you
gitu
can
saya.
share with us. I mean, if you have that kind of
Yes,
condition,
you
we'll
have
help you
that
to find help,
experience.
right?
Sorry for
I
the
mean,
curse words.
like for men, I mean, for women, I think it's very easy because I do also have the data from Forbes magazine. It seems that, especially in US, 51.7% of women receive mental health services, but only 40% of men, right? Because women are encouraged, whereas men is discouraged when it comes to opening up about one's feelings.
Toxic masculinity.
It's social expectation also. Don't you
Kasian
think?
kan, jadi
Yes.
laki-laki kasian.
Yeah,
Yes.
they bottle up a lot
Kasian
of.
banget.
I mean, when we grow, when we hang out, and whatnot, we'll talk about our feelings. Like, this happens to me.
Yeah.
This happens at home.
Mereka tuh gimana ya? Gedean otot gue
They'll be
nih.
like, "Did you watch that Lakers game? I mean, LeBron James, down 40 points and whatnot, right?" And I think it's just we have to normalize that you should share your feelings.
Tapi susah kadang-kadang kalau misalnya ada anggapan tadi kan kayak bilang mengenai toxic maskulinitas yang toxic gitu ya. Apa sebetulnya maskulinitas yang toxic? Itu salah satunya adalah ada ekspektasi bahwa laki-laki itu harus selalu kuat. Laki-laki itu nggak boleh nangis. Laki-laki itu nggak boleh ngomongin tentang perasaan. Nanti dianggap sisi, dianggap apa gitu kan. Itu juga tekanan sebetulnya buat laki-laki.
Iya.
Yang kadang-kadang aku juga suka ngerasa kasihan sama teman-teman kita yang laki-laki. Padahal dia juga laki-laki perempuan sama-sama manusia. Kita organ-organnya juga sama kecuali satu yang di bawah itu I know. Cuma kan dia juga punya hati,
Yes,
punya perasaan.
yes, yes.
Nah kadang-kadang society tuh suka mikir bahwa enggak. Laki-laki enggak boleh punya perasaan.
Yes.
Toughen up.
Benar. Dan makanya pelecehan seksual malah justru kayak 50% lebih itu yang tidak terlaporkan adalah kepada laki-laki loh. Jadi
Tuh kan.
perempuan malah justru sekarang udah aware kan.
Iya.
Kita akan ngomong gitu ketika kita merasa dilecehkan. Mereka tuh malah nggak mungkin ngomong karena kayak
Malu.
Iya.
Ego.
Apa?
Yeah, but especially in relationship, it becomes really hard, right? When you want to go to a marriage counseling, let's say the wife is ready for it, but the husband says no. Like, I'm not crazy. I'm like, you're the one that has the issue. You go.
Yes.
And then when you're going to a counseling, when it's
Yeah.
about relationship, it takes two.
Sulit.
Exactly.
Sulit, brother.
Or
Brother.
pray some more.
Right. So, I mean, to what extent I think these men have to crash their own barriers of masculinity, right?
Tapi sulitnya gini loh, lo gak akan pernah bisa ngebantu orang yang gak mau dibantu.
Tepat,
Nggak akan
Syaz.
pernah gitu. Jadi mau lo ngomong 1000 kali gitu kalau
Yeah.
you need help. What do you think you need help? Gitu kayak
I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy, you're the one who needs help.
Actually, the
Kayak,
facial expression is the
Yeah.
same.
ya kan?
Exactly.
Ya kan? Tapi
Yeah.
jadi kayak ya udah lo nggak bisa, susah gitu. Lo nggak akan pernah bisa masuk ke orang yang emang otaknya impenetrable.
Right.
Gitu.
Belum
Jadi
terbuka.
Kadang-kadang
Ya sudah.
timing, Nas. Bukannya kadang-kadang ya,
Iya.
sering kali timing.
ya
Karena
kita
dia belum sadar.
Bener, yang bisa kita lakukan berdoa ya. Doakan memang.
Just want to share
all
to
else fails.
share to the brothers right now that is watching this. I mean, when you go to a counselor, there is no judgment, and actually, it will help you. Not only the relationship, but if you go individually, you will definitely find the help that you need. Seriously, no one's
Dan-
gonna judge you
okay. Iya, dan
because men
benefitnya-
don't want to be judged.
Betul, dan benefitnya gak cuma buat lo, tapi buat orang
Correct.
lain.
Yeah,
Buat
those
orang di
around
sekitar
you.
lo.
Correct.
Vulnerable
Okay,
is sexy.
Can we
Second
just
that.
Bentar, ulangi. Coba Kebi.
Vulnerability is sexy.
Yes.
But can we just maybe for people who seem to have a misconception of what happens in a therapy session?
Oh, but I have to share my story before you go to that one.
Exactly. So what happens in a therapy session?
Okay. My story goes back 15 years ago, by the way.
This was
Yes.
when you still wanted to
I
become
was 15 years old.
Do
By
you
the
need
way.
additional mic?
Oh, I have 5 of these together. I
can have mine.
won't share names because I'm just nice like that. But I will share a bit of my story. I am.
She's
Glinda.
feeling good today.
I know. When I was 15 years old, I asked my mom that I need to go to a psychologist. I said, "Mom, with our family dynamic, and I'm also, I'm a teenager. I have my own friends issues and whatnot. I think I need to go to a psychologist, right?" And Mom's like, "Well, you're very young and very aware. Okay, why don't you just go to my friend, right?" So my mom has a friend, which my little brother and her son are basically in the same class. So I was like, "Okay, you trust her? Yeah, she's my friend. Okay." And then my mom said, with all the family matters in my life, in our family ship, my mom said, I need to go back to US, right? I need to have my own space and whatnot. You're here in Jakarta with your dad and also with your brother. I'm taking your sister going back to the US. I was like, okay. So I go to her, 15, remember this, 15 years old. And then I went 7 sessions to her. I was very open to her. I told her like what I want in life is to see my mom and dad having a good relationship. I want to have a loving family where we sit together, where I don't have to hear shouts and, like crashes of plates every single day. And I have to like take care of my brother and my sister. I am the eldest. So then I have to take care of my brother. I have to take care of my sister. And then I have to take care of my mom. And sometimes my mom would like be tantrum and I have to tame her. And my dad would not come home and whatnot. So I'm like, I'm done with this, dude. Like I want to have a normal family, please, right? So I go to her and every time it's always consistent. I want my mom and dad. I want my mom and dad. I want my mom and dad. My mom and dad. Other than being my mom's friend, she's also a very professional psychologist where I think the public also knows her because she's sometimes she's being interviewed for some marital cases. So I can't even cry anymore. Yes, I'm talking to you. On your 7th session, did you remember that, madam? She told me, she has the audacity to tell me like, Carol, your dad is going to divorce my mom. By the way, all this 7 session, because I'm still underage, I have my dad with me. And my dad is my issue, right? I want my dad to
hear.
be...
So
to heal. I want you to be my dad, like a normal dad.
He was there with
what
you.
you're going through.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
like you're hurting me, you're hurting mom,
Right.
you're hurting my brother and my sister. Like, please, like be a good dad. And so she said, your dad is going to divorce your mom.
In front of your dad.
Yeah, it's me and my dad.
It's the 3 of them.
It's me, my dad, and her. Yes, my
Right.
psychologist.
Okay.
Wait for it.
And then so I said, why, Tante? Because we're close like that. Why, Tante?
so you thought.
And then she was like, yes, because your dad is going to marry me. I'm like, ethical issue?
Did your dad consent to her saying that to you?
He was just quiet. He was just there like quiet.
He must have. He
No,
must
he
have.
felt like, I love you,
I'm
Dad,
just-
no matter what. But I know you felt like you are Brad Pitt that day. You're like, mm-hmm. And my dad was just sitting down, and then he didn't even look at me. Of course,
What was your reaction?
I crashed her place. I crashed it. Every table, every mirrors and whatnot. And then you know what she said? She didn't speak to me at all after that. She's like, Mas, it's okay. Let her just be mad and all this tantrum because she needs to let it out. I'm like, yeah, witch. I'm coming for you next. And that really kind of like made me not trust anybody. Not only psychologists, not anybody. That you were my mom's friend. You were a professional.
That was traumatizing,
Right?
yes. But
I
you can
mean-
trust us. Though.
Oh, I mean, yes. I do have I do have a psychologist, Ratih Ibrahim, by
Yeah.
the way, after that. And by Ratih
She's the
Ibrahim, I
best.
love her. But yeah, you know what I mean? So I get it that to find a psychologist is like finding your own better half.
Yeah.
That really understands you. And for me now, I would want my husband to find a psychologist probably in the same sex, because like that really traumatized
Yeah.
me, right? Because I brought my dad,
Iya, betul.
and then behind me they did the hanky panky.
Iya.
You know what I mean?
That's
like,
not cool.
and at that time I felt like, is it because of me that they're together? Because at that time,
Tapi
right?
itu menariknya anak-anak itu ya, apapun yang terjadi dengan orang tua mereka, ketegangan, argumen, berantem, anak itu selalu ngelihatnya, oh aku kali yang salah ya.
Iya.
Mungkin aku bukan anak yang baik, I'm not a good boy, I'm not a good girl. Jadi aku paham ketika reaksimu kayak gitu, Kay. But it's not your fault.
Yes.
Itu adalah permasalahan dari 2 orang dewasa yang ada di ruangan itu. Adalah permasalahan antara 2 orang dewasa yang merupakan orang tua itu.
Yes.
Jangan pernah bawa-bawa anak.
Yeah.
Karena anak itu ketika masih kecil otak mereka kan belum berkembang secara penuh ya. Belum bisa mampu untuk kayak kita kan udah bisa trying to make sense segalanya. Anak itu semua yang dirasa adalah rasa.
Yeah.
Cuma a ball of emotions. They cannot try to make it logical, they cannot. Jadi ya it's not your fault.
Yeah.
it's never the children's fault.
Yes.
Nggak pernah itu salah anak-anak. Itu adalah permasalahan dua orang dewasa yang ada di situ.
So adults, it's your fault. I heard you, and when she was saying that to me, and when that happened to me, I was like, I'm crazy for coming to you, but you are so damn crazy. Like you are
No,
crazy,
that's a whole nother
man.
level of
All right.
No,
crazy.
itu a whole ethical issue, no?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
She's a witch.
You can
Yeah.
actually report that.
Yeah, I do, but
Mestinya
I'm
dia
so
kan
kind. I'm nice like that, but don't you come cross me. I have evidence. All right. Takut sama Ibu Caroline. But anyways, what I took from what happened in my life after I went to her, I went to Mbak Rati Ibrahim until today and whatnot. There are some issues within myself, and I know, and I think I need to heal my inner child. And I've been practicing. I've been doing it so for ages now. And it's still in a process. It's not as easy as you open a book and then you close the chapter and it's done. So it's a long time journey, definitely, when you need to heal yourself. And that's why we do need our professional help. Now, to say that, when I jump into my marriage or any relationship before, I always have the tendency to think that all the men that I meet will end up like my dad. Always behind.
That's traumatized.
Of course.
Trauma.
Of course. And even though that I met with such a wonderful husband, I always have my guard up. Even my husband tell me, your walls is so high.
Because we
I
don't trust
know.
men.
I don't. I don't.
I do trust Pedro.
Pascal. Shahnas Pascal right here by the way at the table.
Mudah-mudahan lo ketemu deh beneran. Terus kita lihat
Iya.
beneran deh orangnya tuh cocok gak sih sama lo.
Yeah.
But
Curious.
Can we amen that?
I do, amen. But I do wish at times that this is what I asked my husband before, that I shared with him all my all the troubles that I've met in my life, especially the big ones, right? Between my mom and my dad. And he apparently has the same situation also in his household, his family, and also his parents. So I thought, okay, that was my assessment, because you have the same problem as me, then you would understand how I feel. Then we both know we would never jump into that situation for our children, right? But life rolls not like that, by the way, right? And, it's how mysterious life is. So in that part, I felt that time, I'm telling my brother right now who's getting married soon, I told him, like, you should assess, both of you, right? To have that assessment. Or
Couples
go to
counseling.
Yes.
Premarital, not yet married.
Premarital, like counseling, whatnot. This counseling between like two people before you go to marriage, right?
Yeah,
because this should be until death do us apart.
Amen.
In our beliefs, we don't have that that kind
not
of
really.
like help, do we?
Now there are specific Muslim initiatives who educate especially young girls
Right.
or younger people to premarital.
But that is something that we need to like look after, not like
Yes, it's
not
not-
by the
yeah,
institution,
it's not
right?
by the
system,
institution,
right?
yeah.
But then here we have Shahnaz and also KB and Marissa that went through this before the three of you married. Can you share with us about your premarital counseling?
Kalau dari gua, ya itu dari Gereja Protestan Indonesia bagian Barat (GPIB). Jadi yang asas gue adalah seorang pendeta, tapi saat itu memang pendeta keluarga. Dia adalah dosen di STT, jadi kredibilitas dia cukup baik gitu. Tapi memang what's missing dari apa yang gue jalani ya, karena gue kan cukup lama berhubungan sama my ex at that time gitu kan. Gue udah pacaran tuh 8 tahun. Dan si pendeta ini tahu gue dari gue kecil. Jadi gue memang temenan dekat sama anaknya gitu. Jadi dia juga adalah pendeta yang membaptis bokap gue pas bokap gue jadi Kristen gitu. Jadi memang dia family friend. Dan dia tahu kalau gue udah cukup lama sama my ex. Jadi dia tuh kayak ngerasa, oh kalian udah pacaran 8 tahun kan. Kalian tuh udah lama banget ya bareng-bareng gitu. Jadi bukannya bypassing sih. Sebenarnya dia juga kayak ngasih pembekalan, tapi semuanya dari ilmu agama gitu. Semuanya berdasarkan Alkitab. Jadi yang gue dapatkan saat itu adalah memang guidance dari Alkitab, bukan apakah kita compatible gitu. Jadi memang akhirnya gue bikin essay, si my ex juga bikin essay, dan dia yang baca tapi nggak pernah untuk determine apakah kita bisa bersama gitu. Jadi cuma dikasih tahu aja ini adalah ground rules-nya nih gitu, kayak kalian mau menikah jadi ini adalah pernikahan di dalam Kristen gitu. Jadi bukan compatible nggak nih kita gitu, tapi lebih ke beginilah cara pernikahan Kristen akan berjalan gitu
Right.
sih.
I'm gonna ask you. I mean, the four of you a question after this one, but like KB, let's shift to you.
Yeah, I think mine was actually similar to Shana's. So I got married just 4 or 5 months ago, so it was
Yeah.
really fresh. And I think when you got married, it was a few years ago, so maybe there has been
2013.
some shifts. So yeah, it was 12 years after. And so where my church at GBE Growth Center, we go through this counseling process of premarital counseling for 9 weeks. But it's 1 hour per week. And each week you go through different topics, financial management, open communication, boundaries with your parents, with your in-laws, how to calm your emotions when you are upset at your spouse. And although it's based on the Bible, we have also experts on those different fields come in and share their knowledge on it. And we do have to do exercises where we have to talk to our partner about the
Role-play.
issue. Yeah, role play. Okay, if this is the problem, how would we overcome this? What's our approach? And at the time, before coming into this, we thought it would just be, it's just, going to be some boring
Formalitas.
biblical formality and having to get through this to get married.
Iya, betul.
But then I think coming out of it, we're like, wow, this is so helpful.
Yeah.
Some of these conversations are tough conversations that otherwise we wouldn't have if mungkin we didn't have this counseling, premarital counseling. And at the end, we do have a session with the pastor who blessed us for the marriage. And he assessed all the notes that we took and also from the guides that were teaching us over the weeks. And he would tell us, okay, you are this character, you're this character. He will never tell us you can't marry, you're not compatible or not. He will just line out all the differences and all the similarities. But at the end of the day, it's your choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that was a vital component to our road to marriage that I feel like now we're just more open in communication. We know how to handle things better.
Yes.
And I think it's a great start
Yeah.
to marriage.
Excellent. It's a good foundation.
Fundamental, yeah, for sure.
What about you?
I wish I had her. I got married in 2008.
Yes.
And definitely is the opposite of what Karina was just saying.
Okay.
it
So
was
different
literally-
experience.
Well, it was literally like lebih ke formalitas yang tadi KB bilang gitu loh. Ya udahlah pokoknya kita harus jalanin ini aja. Tapi sebetulnya pada saat itu aku nggak ngerasa mendapatkan selengkap yang kamu dapatkan. Karena bener banget KB, kamu bilang tadi, isu-isu yang ada dalam pernikahan tuh harus diomongin.
Yes.
Masalah keuangan,
Yes.
itu gimana? Kemudian masalah komunikasi.
Yes.
Apalagi kalau misalnya pasangan yang menikah ini adalah umurnya masih sangat muda gitu kan. Kita tidak bisa mengkarbit kedewasaan. Karena kedewasaan atau kebijaksanaan itu hanya bisa didapatkan yang paling mantap adalah dengan pengalaman hidup.
Yes.
Nah, permasalahannya ketika ada pasangan muda yang menikah di usia yang mungkin 20 tahun early 20s gitu ya. Kedewasaannya kan belum sampai. Yang ditakutkan adalah yaitu kalau berantem langsung duar meledak gitu kan. Itu yang kita nggak mau sebetulnya kan. Karena kita mencintai pasangan kita. We love our who we're married to.
Yes.
Baiknya ya kalaupun ada perbedaan bisa diutarakan perbedaan ini dengan bahasa yang tidak menyakitkan.
Yeah.
Jadi fondasi yang KB dapatkan itu,
Yeah.
wah itu oke banget. Aku seneng sih KB denger bahwa generasi muda sekarang tuh punya akses ke situ.
Yes.
Itu penting banget.
Yes.
Apalagi bagi saya yang nanti
Yeah.
Akan menikah lagi
Yes.
ya.
I mean, like whatever your spiritual belief, I think there are some institutions right now that you can do like premarital counseling, or even you counsel. I mean, you make your assessment yourself to a professional. I think just the both of you, right? Like a marriage counselor or whatnot. Because
Psikolog gitu kan?
yes, because at the end of the day, everyone has their own excess baggage.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the next to you can really accept it. I mean, if you're going out still and you think that you want to get married, of course, you love each other.
Yeah.
You still see the good side of each other. But then when you're married, everything is all out, right? And that time, how can you handle the worst of each other? And I think that is really key because at the end of the day, after you're married, and then again, if you have offsprings and children and whatnot, you do not want to like stumble upon the same situation that happened previously in your life. So with that said, do you support people? I mean, especially if you're before they're married, to family counseling or having this like marriage counseling or
Yes.
100%.
Of course, we all hard to be with.
yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Kita difficult gitu.
Yep.
Jadi ya udah kalau kita memang kompleks, kita harus mencoba simplify things dengan komunikasi lebih baik.
Tapi menurut gue, if you don't have access to it, at least you should have the awareness to know yourself first.
Yes.
And if you need professional help to get to know yourself, that's what they're for, right? So kalau menurut gue, if you want to get into marriage, you have to know your baggage first because a lot of people are not even aware that they're carrying all this baggage,
Yes.
right? Jadi itu aja sih.
And to even live life.
Exactly.
Right?
And
Day by day.
like you said, you're not working on your inner child, and that's a big step for you. So yeah.
Salam. Yes.
And we find out these things due to objective professional help. Karena kadang-kadang kita nggak bisa self-assess diri sendiri gitu loh.
Dan
kita
kadang
tetap
kan
butuh.
Bener. Kadang kan kita kayak ngerasa, oh kita bayar untuk apa nih? Kita nggak dapat obat, kita nggak dapat apa-apa gitu. Tapi kembali lagi kita bayar untuk diri kita sendiri sebenarnya, untuk mengenal diri kita sendiri gitu.
Another form of investment. So at the end of the day, the big tamale question is, are you crazy? We are all crazy. And that's okay. Help is always there. But do share with us, are you open to find or seek a psychological help? If you have, share with us. How does it help you? And if you're reluctant, share with us also, why are you reluctant? So hopefully this session with the fellow therapist right here on the table would help you out today. And do have a wonderful day in life ahead. This is In Her View. We'll see you again in the next episode. Toodles, guys.
Sorry for all the curse words. Sorry.
Yes. I know.
Which? I wanted to say bitch.
I'm like,
Don't forget to
Like.
subscribe.
comment.
And share.